Welcome to the Leadership Catalyst Power Bites podcast, where leadership meets transformation. Today, I'm your host, Philip Buerta, and in each episode, my guest brings their perspective on real leadership challenges, along with actionable insights you can use. I ask 8 powerful questions to uncover bold ideas and practical strategies from inspiring leaders around the world. This week, my guest is Bernhard Zimmermann. Bernhard, welcome to Power Bites.
Happy to be here, Philip.
Bernhard is a professional coach, certified with ICF, and he has been an executive coach, facilitator, and consultant for over 20 years. And during this time, he was also president of ICF in Germany for 4 years. Now, before becoming a coach, he was a professional research and development executive for one of the world's leading FMCG companies. And one of his main current projects is introducing application coaching to business leaders and coaches across the world. So very briefly, what is application coaching and why are you so passionate about that?
Well, application coaching is a very specific methodology to use coaching approaches for, as it says, application for very much applied challenges, questions people have in their day-to-day life, like as a leader. And why I'm so passionate about that, because I've been working with application coaching with executives, and they make great leaps in going through the process, actually finding the immediate solution for the challenge, and then enabling themselves to actually deal with these kind of challenges in the future, which is very different from developmental coaching, where you start on a broader range and dive deep and then go to the specifics.
Okay. So my first question, a broad question. Who benefits most from your services?
So from the immersion and the practice of application coaching is those leaders who want to bring more engagement in their organization, bring people, immerse them more into the actual execution of things, and give them more freedom and more empowerment in the way things happening in the organization.
So if you offer them more freedom and more empowerment, what is the core problem or challenge that you help them solve?
One of the core problems I see with leaders, and that's where they benefit from the program, is that the workload is going at levels where you can't do it all your own. And some of the leaders are actually trying to do with more and more hours in the day, do everything and delegate things, delegate very specifically, rather than actually building capabilities in the organization so people can be really empowered. And the delegation I see is quite often very specific. This is what needs to be the outcome. This is what you need to do. So it's not delegation in a free, open way, but very specific. These are my ideas. This is what you should do. So it's more the execution of ideas rather than creating ideas and developing solutions. And that's a big difference. And that's where people feel challenged because they've been conditioned in that way in the past.
So if they've been conditioned in the past for this challenge, what are the common symptoms that your clients experience when they encounter this challenge?
Well, the common symptoms, if they feel stressed out, they feel overworked, overloaded, they're challenged with their private life, they're spending more and more hours in their job. And then I said, how do I actually get back to a normal situation? And when I start, the easiest for me to detect that they have these challenges, when I start trying to get in the first appointment with them. I had one executive, it actually took us 3 months to get an appointment because he was so overloaded in his diary that he couldn't find a free slot.
Well, that's long. So thinking about this, what are the typical errors that leaders make? Or how do they hold themselves back when attempting to address this problem or issue on their own?
So one of the most common errors I see, I need to be very careful to not too much go into stereotyping, but the most common error is that Because in organizations, if you're very good in your job and you're a specialist, you have the knowledge, you're getting promoted. And the people getting promoted to higher levels, executive levels, they think, so I still need to be the expert and therefore to provide solutions. So whenever a problem comes up, they think I need to be the person to provide the solution and then tell my team what to do. And that obviously is then getting right in the way of letting go, because it's still they own the solution rather than open the space for others.
Okay. Now, thinking of application coaching for business, do you have a single or one powerful inspirational idea that can inspire someone to take action and to move beyond a similar challenge?
Well, the very first idea I have that helps people is, well, actually, there are two ideas together. Okay. So one is get used to be silent and listen, and then ask open questions. Even if you think I'm not a coach, I don't want to be a coach, that's fine. One of the essences is listen and ask explorative questions. People are surprised that say, I never understood that my people understand so much of what I know, and now I'm asking the open questions, and they come up with better solutions than I was thinking of.
And that's interesting that you say that, because what do they notice being the impact of asking open questions from your experience?
One feedback I get very regularly is that they find different solutions. They find solutions they hadn't thought about. And the execution of the ideas is much more to the point, and they have less situations where people coming back, oh, that didn't work.
Okay. So moving on to my next question, what would you suggest to be a valuable free action that anybody listening or watching right now can take that will help them to effectively solve this problem or challenge?
One free action. Okay, need to be very concise on that one. So I've been talking about the silence and asking the open questions. Now let's go to the next one, which is one element. I think one of the core elements of application coaching is really that you go in a conversation and you ask the person, what do they need? What do they need from the conversation they're having with you as their leader? And we call it the contracting. And in that one, that you very specific, rather, let's talk about it. What do they need? Because then you have, as Covey says, you have the end in mind for the conversation. And that's much more targeted, takes less time, and people may actually be far more happier that you engage with them in their problem and what they need.
And if somebody watching or listening should implement that, what could they expect could happen from doing this?
The meetings are shorter. The meetings are much more to the point. You actually, they will be surprised that you come to the solution relatively quickly. And what I also observe is indirectly, as the engagement in the organization increases, because people realize that they're now empowered. They're not just delegated to, but they're empowered because you ask them the questions and you engage with them, that they explore the solution rather than you tell them the solution.
That sounds very powerful. My final question before I ask another question is, could you recommend a valuable resource that is free for anyone to access, that you can direct people to, that will further help them address this problem or tackle it? And I will take that link and I will put it into the podcast as well.
So there's one valuable resource. The original resource is not free. That's a book that's called The Coaching Habit. But I've actually found a blog that writes about the coaching habit, and there are the essential questions listed on that one. And if you start playing with these questions, I think that's a good start. Application coaching goes way beyond that one. But if you stay on that skill level and just ask these questions and follow this process, that will make a huge leap for you in the way how you lead and engage with people.
Thank you. I'll include that link into the podcast. My final question really speaks to the heart of everything that I believe about leadership. For me, authentic leadership means leading from a deep alignment with your true core, your values, your purpose, and your essence, so that how you show up, how you behave, and the choices you make create a meaningful impact in the world. So my question to you is, in one sentence, how would you describe what authentic leadership means for you?
Okay. How should I put everything? I fully agree what you said is, now, how could I put that into one sentence? So it's kind of being true to yourself and then being in service of what the others need in terms of how you engage, the empathy, the values, and bring your heart into that as well.
I think that's very powerful because, just listening to you, the logical conclusion in my experience that comes out of that is connection, which is a topic that we have both spoken about before. So thank you for that. Bernhard, thank you for being my guest. I really appreciate your insight, and I look forward to another conversation with you at another stage in time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. All the best.
Thank you for joining us on the Leadership Catalyst Power Bites. And a huge thank you to Bernhard Zimmermann for sharing his wisdom and insight today. If you'd like to connect, please visit leadershipcatalyst.guru or find me on LinkedIn @Philip Buerta. I'd love to hear from you.